Some of hip-hop's biggest names went from sold-out arenas and platinum records to losing sponsorships, getting dropped from festivals, and sitting in prison cells, all in the span of days. From DaBaby's career going up in flames over a single rant at Rolling Loud, to Silento going from a viral dance craze to a murder charge, from Fetty Wap getting arrested at a concert, to 6ix9ine becoming the most infamous snitch in rap history, and from Tory Lanez shooting his way into a decade-long prison sentence, to Lil Pump endorsing himself into irrelevance. These stories all have one thing in common. Everything changed in a week or less. It was July 25th, 2021. At the height of his career, DaBaby performed at Rolling Loud Miami. By that point, the Charlotte rapper had become one of hip-hop's most bankable stars. His song Rockstar had dominated the Billboard Hot 100. He was a fixture on Dua Lipa's global smash Levitating. Prior to the controversy, he was making in the region of $300,000 to $500,000 per show. His calendar was packed. The man was everywhere. Radio, streaming playlists, festival lineups, brand campaigns. He had the kind of momentum that turns a hot rapper into a lasting franchise. And then, with a microphone in his hand and tens of thousands of fans in the crowd, he decided to go off script. During his Rolling Loud set, DaBaby made homophobic comments about HIV and AIDS. Standing on that stage in Miami Gardens, Florida, with cameras rolling and phones live streaming, he told the crowd to put their cell phone lighters up if they didn't have HIV or AIDS, and layered in additional crude, derogatory remarks targeting gay men. The clip spread across social media within minutes. And just like that, the dominoes began to fall, hard, fast, and with devastating precision. Despite multiple apologies, DaBaby continued to face criticism and cancellations. Dua Lipa, who features the rapper on her mega-hit song Levitating, was among those who quickly criticized him. Elton John and Madonna also lambasted DaBaby and railed against misinformation in his comments about HIV. The condemnation wasn't just from pop icons and activists. Fellow hip-hop artists, fans, journalists, and organizations piled on. The internet moved at breakneck speed, and DaBaby found himself in the eye of a cultural hurricane. But here's where the fallout gets staggering. Instead of immediately walking things back, when DaBaby faced immediate backlash, he doubled down. In a series of Instagram stories posts, he attempted to frame the situation as misunderstood, insisting that the crowd's reaction at the show told a different story than what the internet was running with. In another tweet, he insisted that people who weren't in attendance got things twisted. This only poured gasoline on an already raging fire. The financial carnage was swift and merciless. Fashion brand Boohooman announced on July 28th that it was ending its collaboration with the rapper. The company had partnered with DaBaby on a 100-piece summer collection that launched June 30th. A brand deal, months in the making, evaporated in 72 hours. Then came the festival cancellations, one after another like a row of falling dominoes. 1 week after DaBaby made his homophobic comments at Rolling Loud, Lollapalooza dropped him from its lineup hours ahead of his scheduled performance on August 1. NYC's Governor's Ball Music Festival followed suit. Not long after, Las Vegas Festival Day in Vegas also dropped DaBaby from its lineup. Music festivals, including Lollapalooza, the Governor's Ball, and Austin City Limits Music Festival canceled his appearances, and he lost a sponsorship deal with the clothing brand Boohoo. In a matter of 7 days, DaBaby went from headliner to persona non grata. The long-term damage was arguably even more devastating than the immediate fallout. DaBaby's live show rate dropped from $300,000 to $500,000 per show to $30,000. Following his homophobic comments, let that number sink in. A rapper who was pulling in nearly $500,000 a night was suddenly worth a fraction of that. DaBaby admitted the fallout wasn't just social, it was business. "My booking fee went down," he said, acknowledging that the controversy directly affected his ability to command the same price on the road. The controversy from Rolling Loud has faded, but the financial hit stuck around. DaBaby issued multiple apologies over the weeks and months that followed. He first apologized on his Instagram stories, and then on a longer post, where he said he was sorry for the hurtful and triggering nature of his previous words. He mentioned his attempts to learn from the experience, promising to do better. Organizations like GLAAD and the Trevor Project publicly weighed in, emphasizing the harm of his comments and offering educational resources. But in the streaming age, The court of public opinion moves faster than any PR strategy. The swift fallout from his remarks could signify a change in attitudes toward what the music business will tolerate when it comes to explicitly offensive and exclusionary language. From some of its biggest stars, DaBaby became the cautionary tale, living proof that one bad night, a few reckless sentences into a microphone, can bring an entire empire crashing down. He went from the most booked rapper in America to playing at half-empty venues and watching collaborators distance themselves from his name. The career didn't die, but the version of DaBaby that once commanded the summit of hip-hop, that version was gone in a week. In the summer of 2015, a 17-year-old high school junior from Stone Mountain, Georgia, released a song that would take over the entire internet. Richard Lamar Hawk, known professionally as Sealantoo, is best known for his 2015 debut single Watch Me Whip Nay Nay, which peaked at number 3 on the US Billboard Hot 100 when he was 17 years old. The song was everywhere on YouTube, on Vine, on school playgrounds, at birthday parties, at wedding receptions. It sparked a dance craze that crossed every demographic line in the country. He promoted it on his Instagram and SoundCloud accounts, and by performing it at local birthday parties, school events, and roller rinks. The digital distribution network TuneCore soon helped to promote the song. Through an April 2015 partnership with Dance On, user-generated videos on both YouTube and Vine then made the song a dance craze and brought it to viral success by June 2015. Within months, it peaked at number 3 on the US Billboard Hot 100, where it spent 53 weeks and was certified 6 times platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America. A&R executive Alex Wilhelm signed Sealantoo to Capitol Records in May 2015. In June 2015, Sealantoo performed Watch Me Whip Nay Nay on the ABC program Good Morning America, which he described as his breakout moment. He performed at the BET Awards alongside the cast of the show Blackish in June, at a Jack Ue concert in August, and at the Circle City Classic in September. By the end of 2015, the music video had over 500 million views. For a teenager with no label connections, no industry cosign, and no prior body of work. But the thing about viral fame is that it has no foundation. It's built on sand, and the tide comes in fast. The song's success made Sealantoo known as a one-hit wonder. Unlike some viral artists who built long careers, his follow-up tracks never charted the same way. Mixtapes like Fresh Outta High School in 2018 and Bars Behind Bars in 2021 drew little mainstream attention. Without a second act in music, Sealantoo faded from playlists and public consciousness. But what was happening behind the scenes was far darker than anyone on the outside could have imagined. Behind the scenes, Sealantoo battled mental health issues. In a 2019 appearance on The Doctors, he revealed a history of childhood trauma, depression, and anxiety. He has stated that he was born with multiple drugs found in his system, including cocaine, heroin, and marijuana, and that he grew up seeing his family members attempting to kill one another and talking to walls. At age 14, he lived with his great aunt and was soon placed in a juvenile detention center. The fame that Watch Me brought didn't fix any of these deep-rooted problems. His publicist later disclosed a suicide attempt in 2020, showing how fame at a young age added to his pain instead of solving it. By 2020, the warning signs were erupting like fault lines cracking open. In August 2020, Sealantoo was arrested by the Santa Ana Police Department and charged with inflicting injury on a cohabitant. The next day, he entered a random home in Valley Village, Los Angeles, wielding a hatchet in search of his girlfriend, which he swung at 2 people before his friend came to inform him he was at the wrong house. He was disarmed by the family in the home, arrested, and charged with 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon. As if that weren't enough, Sealantoo was then arrested in Atlanta and charged with speeding, reckless driving, and driving on roadways. After driving at 143 miles per hour on Interstate 85, where the speed limit was 65 miles per hour, and telling officers that he was able to drive that quickly because he was not a regular person. Then, in the early morning hours of January 21, 2021, everything reached its terrible conclusion. At around 3:30 a.m. in DeKalb County, Georgia, Sealantoo's 34-year-old cousin, Frederick Rooks, was found bleeding profusely by police, with gunshot wounds in his face and leg, before dying. Sealantoo was arrested in connection with the shooting and charged with malice murder and felony murder. After a thorough investigation, detectives identified Hawk as Rook's cousin and the person responsible for Rook's murder. The kid who once had the whole world doing the whip and the nay-nay was now sitting in a jail cell facing life in prison. The legal proceedings dragged on for years. In June 2025, Hawk was sentenced to 30 years in prison after pleading guilty but mentally ill to the lesser charge of voluntary manslaughter. He also received a consecutive 5-year sentence for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon for firing a gun in the direction of 2 other people. Silento is alive, but his life is now shaped by prison routines. His music career is halted, and his social media accounts remain inactive. He has no spouse or children, and financially, he is far from the millionaire many assumed he became. The trajectory from viral teenager performing on Good Morning America to a 30-year prison sentence is one of the most dramatic and devastating collapses in rap history. And while the murder charge was the moment the career officially died, the truth is that Silento's world had been unraveling for years before that. He just happened to fall apart in public. There has never been a rapper quite like Tekashi 6ix9ine. The rainbow-haired provocateur from Brooklyn understood virality the way a chemist understands reactions, instinctively, precisely, and with zero concern for the fallout. Danny Hernandez built one hell of a music career without ever making a good song. Despite his many faults, he is a genius marketer and knew exactly how to manipulate social media in a way nobody has before or since. Despite legal trouble, 6ix9ine shot to fame quickly in the late 2010s. The rapper collaborated with some of music's biggest stars like Nicki Minaj and Kanye West. His songs were engineered for maximum shock and maximum streams. His social media presence was built on antagonism. He trolled other rappers, mocked their album sales, showed up in rival gang territories with cameras rolling, and dared people to retaliate. Every move was calculated for engagement, and every feud was fuel for the algorithm. But beneath the clown-colored hair and the viral stunts, there was a real-life entanglement with a violent street gang that would eventually swallow his career whole. His involvement with the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods gang led to his arrest in 2018 on racketeering, robbery, and firearm charges. When federal agents closed in on Hernandez, the charges were staggering. He remains locked up, as of this writing, for attempted murder, armed robbery, and a slew of other charges related to his alleged activity with the street gang 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods, the same gang members who had appeared in his music videos, who had provided the street credibility he used to build his brand, were now named in a sweeping federal indictment alongside him. The minimum sentence he was facing was devastating. To try and reduce his minimum sentence of 47 years, Hernandez testified against his alleged former gang associates in 2019. And this is the moment that truly detonated his career. Not the arrest, not the charges, but the testimony. In the world of hip-hop, where street credibility is currency and loyalty to your associates is a sacred code, Tekashi 6ix9ine did the one thing that is considered absolutely unforgivable. He cooperated with the government. He didn't just provide a name or two. He gave detailed testimony, identifying gang members, describing criminal operations, and pointing fingers at the very people who had once been his entourage. The courtroom transcripts read like a demolition of everything he'd ever claimed to be. The man who had built an entire brand on being a fearless, untouchable provocateur was now sitting on the witness stand, helping prosecutors put away his former friends. Even if Hernandez's cooperation with law enforcement worked out, his courtroom behavior probably already did the trick. According to the New York Times, he clearly lost credibility in the industry, with fellow rappers like Snoop Dogg, Future, and Lil Durk sharing memes or pointed words denouncing 6ix9ine as a snitch. The word snitch became permanently welded to his name. In hip-hop, where authenticity is everything, it was a death sentence for his persona. The gang ties that had made him seem dangerous and real were exposed as a transactional arrangement. He used them for content, and when the consequences came, he folded. After serving a reduced sentence, 6ix9ine attempted a comeback. His arrest, trial, and snitching captivated hip-hop fans throughout 2018 to 2019. Once he served his time, he exploded back onto the scene, seemingly not having learned anything from his mistakes. He released music. He went on social media. He tried to restart the trolling engine. But the landscape had shifted. The audience that once thrived on his chaos had moved on, and the hip-hop community at large treated him like a pariah. Rappers refused to collaborate with him. Playlists moved on. Radio stations moved on. The streams that once numbered in the hundreds of millions dwindled to a fraction of what they'd been. His content was about as deep as a kiddie pool. Hearing him aggressively scream violent threats over expensive trap beats lost its charm fast. He lacked versatility as an artist, and there were only so many ways to troll people. It was only a matter of time until everybody got bored of him antagonizing rappers and making everything about him. The career that once burned brighter than almost anyone's in the genre was reduced to ashes, and 6ix9ine had struck the match himself. He traded the one commodity that hip-hop never lets you buy back: credibility. Part 4. Fetty Wap, arrested at his own concert. The year was 2015, and Fetty Wap was the hottest new voice in rap music. New Jersey rapper Fetty Wap, born Willie Maxwell II, once had an undeniably successful career prior to his decline. Fetty can be attributed to the rise in popularity of trap music with his tracks like Trap Queen. The song was a phenomenon, a gritty, melodic love letter that fused singing with rapping in a way that felt entirely fresh. Trap Queen went diamond. 679 reached 6 times platinum and again went 3 times platinum, all in the US. Fetty Wap received 2 Grammy Award nominations and won the 2016 awards for Best New Artist and Top New Artist by the iHeartRadio Music Awards and Billboard Music Awards, respectively. From Paterson, New Jersey, a city not exactly known for producing pop stars, Fetty Wap became the embodiment of the American dream, Rap Edition. Born with glaucoma in both eyes, Maxwell revealed in an interview in 2015 that doctors were unable to save his left eye, and instead fitted him with an ocular prosthesis. Despite a physical challenge that would have deterred many, he climbed to the pinnacle of the music industry on raw talent and an infectious melodic style. But the afterglow of Trap Queen faded much faster than anyone expected. Fetty has gone on record blaming a lack of proper management as his main issue. Bad business managers, greed, and selfishness, but it's almost over, he said in response to an Instagram comment. Follow-up singles failed to capture the same magic. The album cycle stalled. In 2016, he saw moderate success with follow-up singles Jimmy Choo and Wake Up. His 2018 single Keki with 6ix9ine and a Boogie with Da Hoodie marked a brief resurgence. But for the most part, the chart-topping momentum evaporated. What was brewing beneath the surface, though, was far more dangerous than a musical slump. Fetty Wap was one of multiple defendants charged and found guilty of being part of an organization that distributed more than 100 kilograms of cocaine, heroin, fentanyl, and crack cocaine in Long Island and New Jersey. This wasn't a small-time possession charge or a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. This was a federal drug trafficking conspiracy, the kind of case that carries mandatory minimum sentences and leaves prosecutors with mountains of evidence. And the way it all came crashing down was the stuff of Hollywood scripts. He was arrested at New York City's Citi Field, home of the Mets baseball team, shortly before he was scheduled to perform a concert there in October 2021. FBI agents arrested Maxwell at Rolling Loud, New York in 2021. One moment he's backstage preparing to perform for thousands, and the next moment, federal agents are walking him out in handcuffs. The contrast between what his life was supposed to look like that night, the stage, the spotlight, the screaming fans, and what it actually became could not have been more stark. Maxwell was initially released on bond, but has been in custody since August 2022, when his bail was revoked. He later pleaded guilty to conspiracy to distribute 500 grams or more of cocaine. The minimum sentence for such a charge is 5 years. Fetty Wap was sentenced to 6 years in prison for his role in a large-scale drug trafficking scheme that saw narcotics shipped from the West Coast and sold in New Jersey and Long Island. In court, he told the judge, "I hurt my community, people who look up to me, my family, and myself. I am truly sorry for any pain I caused." The story has a bittersweet coda. Fetty Wap has been released from a federal prison to home confinement after serving just over half of his 6-year sentence. He was released from the federal prison in Minnesota. The Trap Queen rapper will serve the remainder of his sentence on home confinement in New Jersey. Upon release, he stated, "I want to thank my family, friends, and fans for the love, prayers, and continued support. It truly means everything to me. Right now, my focus is on giving back through my community initiatives and foundation, supporting at-risk young children. Whether Fetty Wap can rebuild remains an open question. But the career he had, the one that put Paterson, New Jersey on the map and turned a one-eyed kid with a dream into a Grammy-nominated superstar, That career ended the night FBI agents showed up at Citi Field. Part 5. Tory Lanez, from rising star to a decade behind bars. Few rappers in recent memory had a more complete skill set than Tory Lanez. The Canadian-born artist could sing, he could rap, he could produce, and he could craft albums that ranged from Latin-influenced bangers to introspective R&B. Tory Lanez's career took a sharp turn following allegations of a serious crime. His collaborations with prominent artists and his successful albums positioned him as an emerging force in the industry. His mixtape run in the mid-2010s established him as one of the most versatile voices in hip-hop, and his debut album I Told You in 2016 cemented his status as a legitimate mainstream contender. But on July 12, 2020, a single gunshot changed everything. Lanez was a rising star who was finding mainstream success in the late 2010s, and then he was accused of shooting Megan Thee Stallion in 2020. He was eventually convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison. The incident occurred after a party at Kylie Jenner's house in the Hollywood Hills. The details were messy, the narratives conflicting, and the public discourse poisonous. At first, the shooter's identity was unclear, but it later emerged that fellow rapper Tory Lanez was responsible. Initially, Lanez denied the allegations, even releasing an album that alluded to his innocence and launching a smear campaign against Megan. However, as more details surfaced, public support shifted decisively towards her. What made the Tory Lanez saga particularly destructive was the duration and intensity of the public war that followed. Rather than staying quiet and letting his legal team handle the situation, Lanez turned the case into a content opportunity. He released an entire album, Daystar, that many interpreted as a response to the allegations. He used social media aggressively, and his supporters launched coordinated campaigns against Megan Thee Stallion that turned one of the most serious alleged crimes in recent hip-hop history into a polarizing internet spectacle. The trial, when it finally came, was a spectacle of its own. In October 2020, Lanez was indicted and arraigned on charges related to the incident. Ultimately, after losing in the court of public opinion, he ended up losing in an actual court and was convicted of 3 felony charges. This earned him a 10-year prison sentence, effectively gutting his once promising trajectory. Tory Lanez faces prison time for assault with a firearm, carrying a loaded, unregistered firearm, and negligent discharge of a firearm, stemming from an incident involving Megan Thee Stallion. The night of that shooting in 2020 didn't just wound Megan Thee Stallion physically, it set off a chain of events that vaporized a career that was on the verge of superstar status. Tory Lanez had the talent, the catalog, the fan base, and the momentum. All of it was obliterated by one reckless act in the back of an SUV, and the years of reckless PR strategy that followed only made things worse. Time will tell if he attempts to make a comeback after that, but a decade is an eternity in hip-hop, where the shelf life of relevance can be measured in months. By the time Tory Lanez walks out of prison, the genre will have moved on several times over. The fans will be older, the sound will be different, the playlists will have rotated through a dozen new names, and the shooting of Megan Thee Stallion will be the only thing most people remember about him. Part 6. Lil Pump and Bo B, Self-Inflicted Wounds. Not every career death comes from a courtroom or a crime scene. Sometimes rappers are their own worst enemies, and the weapons they use are social media accounts, conspiracy theories, and political endorsements that make no sense. Lil Pump was riding a big wave back in 2016 with the insane popularity of Gucci Gang. People loved the Florida SoundCloud sensation because he was brainless fun and his music was perfect for partying. Essentially a one-hit wonder, Pump found acclaim on the release of his simplistic yet infectious track, Gucci Gang, a track that has achieved a 5-time platinum certification. The song was everywhere, memed to death, played at every house party, and streamed hundreds of millions of times. But the cracks were already showing. Videos for these songs that used to get over 100M views now barely get 200K. Pump never quite managed to capitalize off his newfound exposure despite numerous attempts and releases. His last 2 projects, Harvard Dropout 2019 and Lil Pump 2 2023, both released to resounding thuds, with the former receiving only 45,000 equivalent sales first week, and the latter failing to chart at all. Then came the moment that sealed the coffin. The SoundCloud star decided to support Donald Trump's presidential campaign on social media, provoking shock from his young fan base. For a rapper whose entire audience consisted of young, progressive, internet-native listeners. Publicly endorsing Trump was the equivalent of setting fire to his own fan base. The rapper also appeared at a rally and was introduced by Trump himself, although the president mistakenly called him Lil Pimp. That moment, Trump getting his name wrong on national television, became a meme that perfectly encapsulated the absurdity of the entire episode. His support of Trump was the last desperate grab for attention. But like most clout chasers, there wasn't a bigger plan. No album rollout, no merch to sell. He did it all for the clout and put the final bullet in the head of his career. To add insult to injury, as it turns out, Pump wasn't paying his taxes when Trump was president. According to XXL, as of November 2021, he owed the IRS over $1.6 million in unpaid taxes from 2018. And then there's Boo B, a rapper who was at one point arguably one of the most promising mainstream hip-hop acts of his generation. With chart-topping hits like Nothing on You and Airplanes, Boo B seemed poised to dominate the rap scene in the 2010s. He had Bruno Mars singing his hooks. He had Eminem and Hayley Williams on his remixes. He was the kind of rapper who could cross over to pop without losing his hip-hop credibility. But then he fell down a rabbit hole of conspiracy theories and just never resurfaced. His wildest belief made headlines in 2016 when he boldly declared online that the Earth is flat. This wasn't an offhand joke or a late-night Twitter ramble. Boo O.B. committed to the flat Earth position with the fervor of a true believer, posting lengthy threads, citing discredited sources, and engaging in public debates on the topic. Boo B's subsequent diss track towards astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson included the rapper asking his audience to do their research on Holocaust denier David Irving, which for many represented the nail in the coffin for Boo B's career. When you go from collaborating with Bruno Mars to endorsing a Holocaust denier in a diss track aimed at an astrophysicist, the career trajectory has officially left the building. Once a multi-platinum selling artist, Boo B's latest claim to fame was back in 2016, when he stirred up controversy after making public statements about the Earth being flat and calling science a cult. Albums that once went platinum now went virtually unnoticed. The radio plays dried up. The features disappeared. B.O.B. didn't go to prison, didn't face a federal indictment, didn't commit a violent crime. He simply talked himself out of a career, one conspiracy theory at a time. Looking at all these stories together, a pattern emerges that tells us something about the nature of fame in hip-hop and in entertainment broadly. In the world of rap, success is hard-won and easily lost. One wrong move, one bad album, one ill-advised tweet, and a rapper's career can spiral into irrelevance. The same platforms that build these artists up, social media, streaming, viral moments, are the same platforms that tear them down with ruthless speed. DaBaby lost millions in booking fees over a single rant. Salento went from performing on Good Morning America to a 30-year prison sentence. 6ix9ine traded his entire reputation for a reduced sentence. Fetty Wap got handcuffed at his own concert. Tory Lanez turned a rising career into a 10-year prison bid. Lil Pump and Boo B talked their way out of relevance one post at a time. The music industry often emphasizes an artist's authenticity, with public perception holding significant sway over an artist's career longevity. In hip-hop especially, where the line between persona and person is deliberately blurred, the consequences of breaking character, or of the real person behind the persona being revealed, are more severe than in almost any other genre. Clout chasing is an effective gimmick that produces short-term success at the cost of your reputation and sometimes your career. The pursuit of attention at all costs, the prioritization of viral moments over substance, the willingness to say or do anything for engagement. These are the behaviors that create careers and then destroy them with equal efficiency. In an interview with The Times, Jay-Z explained his decision to stay away from online platforms like Twitter. Jay-Z's wariness of social media looks more prescient with every rapper who self-destructs online. The microphone is always on now. The cameras are always rolling, and the internet never forgets. The rap world is rife with cautionary tales of rapid rises and dramatic falls. From viral sensations destroyed by their own choices to acclaimed artists who failed to meet expectations, these rappers' stories serve as reminders of the consequences of hubris, controversy, and criminal behavior. While their downfalls may have been preventable, they offer valuable lessons for both aspiring artists and fans of the genre. In hip-hop, it takes years of grinding to build a career, but it takes only a week, sometimes less, to lose one. The rappers on this list learned that lesson the hardest way possible. Some of them will get second chances. Some of them are sitting in prison cells right now. And all of them serve as proof that in the modern music industry, the distance between the top of the world and the bottom of the barrel is shorter than a 7-day countdown.